Hey everyone, and welcome to the Defining Your Life podcast, where we focus on living in our purpose, practicing presence, and activating our power in each moment. I'm Marsharelle, your resident pep talk provider, and I invite you to join me as we continue to learn, lift each other up, and strive to level up together. Because we are never finished defining our lives, and it takes a village, so let's build one. Stay tuned for the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday. I hope that this week has been positive for you so far. My world is a bit busy right now, and I'm sure you all know how overwhelm can do. So I'm trying to be mindful of that, staying balanced and not pushing when I hear my mind and my body saying no. And I do feel like I'm just running on autopilot a little bit, right? Going through the motions just to get things done, which I really hate because in those moments, I just feel like time is passing me by. And, I'm just out here drifting with it, but not really present in it, right? And I'm sure some of you can relate even just a little bit. I don't like the feeling, but at least I'm aware that I've been kind of falling into this time suck trap, as I'll call it. And so I'm consciously working to avoid falling deeper into it as I move through the week and this busy period altogether. But if it feels like life is passing you by right now, and time is just moving and you're kind of caught up in the tornado of it, I hope that me sharing what's going on with me will bring your awareness back to time, to life, and to the present. And I'm reminding you not to let it pass you by. Don't waste it. We should be making the most of it always. Now, you ever know that it's time for a change and you keep telling yourself that you need to do something, or maybe you're admitting or complaining to other people that you need to do something, but for some reason you just haven't moved yourself to do even a single solitary thing. What is it that's holding you back from making that first move? Sometimes from the outside, it doesn't even look like we need to make a move. It might look like your job is great, or at a minimum, it's palatable, right? It might look like your relationships are solid. And I'm talking all kinds of relationships, whether that's romantic, friends, family, even professional relationships. But there may be some deeper work that needs to be done, things that are being avoided or missing connections that might need to be restored. You might look great in your clothes, but you're out of breath when you walk up the steps. And that looking and feeling good is nothing but a facade of what's really going on. Well, let me ask you, in all of these instances, don't you want better for yourself, right? Don't you want more for your life than just a facade? I'm here to tell you that the appearance that all is well, don't make it well. And sometimes we have to make a hard decision in order to break loose of the facade. Some of us feel compelled to wait until the wheels are literally falling off. The house is on fire before we make a move. Like, what is that? Do we think it's admirable to hang in there until there's absolutely nothing left to hold on to? You can't wait until the wheels fall off before taking some type of action. And when was the last time you found that being reactive was a solid solution instead of a Band-Aid? I've spoken about contentment before, and there was a time in my life when I struggled with contentment. Like, what was the line between being ungrateful and discontent versus wanting more, seeking bigger, bolder, and better, and living the ultimate life that God has for me? And also not waiting until the wheels fall off. In some instances, this can look like loyalty to a fault. And I may or may not have a little bit of experience in that area, but that too can be grouped into that till the wheels fall off, right? And like I said, this has been an ongoing struggle for me because going after the life that feels in alignment with myself, my purpose, and what God has for me could cause me to make some unconventional or just decisions that are out of the ordinary for me that would not only impact me, but my family as well. But when you have a family or other people that count on you, they can be used as an easy excuse to settle in and leave well enough alone. We can't rock the boat. What about our kids? What about our husbands? What about our friends? Can they handle the drastic change you may be called to make? Have any of you ever been faced with that? And so you bury those thoughts and ideas because it doesn't seem like those are decisions that you are actually able to make based on your life and how your life's set up, right? But if those decisions are in fact aligned with your purpose and what God has for you, you can absolutely make those hard decisions. It's just scary. But where there is a purpose and a will and faith, there is absolutely a way. You know what I'm being shown? Those decisions that you should be making, they stay in the back of your mind, lurking, waiting to be claimed as the decisions that we actually make and not just as the ones that we should be making. The voices of these life-shaping decisions, the voice of them may get faint over time, right? But I encourage you to listen closely if you feel like you can't hear them. The tugging from those voices doesn't leave you. And if you are in relationship with God and you're being shown what your desires are in alignment with his plans for your life, then it's never going to go away. And he will make a way for you to make those decisions and thrive in them if you have faith. But it's going to take you rocking the boat, rocking your boat, maybe a little, maybe a lot, but it's going to rock. Do you feel equipped for that? Or do you feel ill prepared? There's really only a few simple steps that you need to take in order to make it happen. But let's be clear, simple does not mean easy. And so there are a few things that we can do in order to help us feel more prepared in the process. Number one is write it down. This is where you start, right? You get it down on paper so that you have a starting point. You have to see what you're working with. Writing it down is going to ground your thoughts. Otherwise, the thoughts will float in and out of your head at their leisure. So get some control over what you're thinking, and then you can start to filter down. Secondly, you want to make it plain. And by that, I mean refine your thoughts until they're crystal clear. Because how can you make a definitive decision if it's not even clear to you? It won't be clear to anyone else either, and it will be hard to execute on because it'll still be a little foggy. So keep refining it, chiseling away at it until you are able to make it plain. And thirdly, speak it aloud and take a step. Sometimes the first step is actually speaking it aloud. It's claiming it, an ultimate form of acknowledgement, if you will. So speak it aloud so that you and others will know. And sometimes putting it out in the world by vocalizing it is just the push you need to take additional action. I'm not normally one for confrontation and hard conversations unless my back is against the wall because I don't like to disturb the peace, not anyone else's and certainly not my own. I don't do well with chaos or elevated people, and I'll just bow out. I'm good on all that, right? Well, yes and no. It can be good, but also not good because the chances of taking a step or rocking a boat, those chances are slim when you can't have the hard conversations or even confidently confront yourself boldly enough to make the hard decision. The hard decision that might not make sense to others around you, even those that matter to you most, that are closest to you, those who may think they understand you, right? Because we can all be guarded in some ways. But the hard conversations, right, the bold confrontation must be done in order to experience the types of transformations we often find ourselves seeking in our lives. And while you don't know the outcome ahead of time, at a minimum, you have to try. We've been talking about how hard it is to make life-changing decisions, right? We talked about 3 steps that can help make it easier, but it does not lift the heaviness of what it can be sometimes. But it can also be very exciting. And you've heard me say a small change can have a big impact, right? Something can be small and it can still be hard, but it can be impactful and it can be life-changing. I've been reading, along with several other people that I know, the book Draw the Circle by Mark Batterson. It's a 40-day prayer challenge, and all of this talk of big, bold, circled prayers has me really considering what's next. But At the end of today's chapter in the book in particular, the author said something simple yet profound. He said, if you want to see God move, make a move. That's it. So what are we going to do, y'all? Maybe you are already clear on a decision or a change that you need to make. Maybe your thoughts are still swirling and still remain ungrounded in your mind, but you know underneath all of that is a decision that needs to be made. Either way, your call to action is make a move. Thanks so much for listening today. If what you have been hearing has been beneficial, please don't forget to rate, review, share, and subscribe to the pod. I can't wait to chat with you all again next week. Take care until then.